We are Supremely Black. We are Flake, Rose, and Spears, dropping content that matters. How y'all doing this week, fellas?
Hey, what's going on? It's your big kinfolk, J.Flake, man. Had a good week. Was able to celebrate my dog. Once again, this was after we recorded, but we celebrated her birthday after we recorded. So when I had a great family time out in East Tennessee. So it was a good time, good getaway up in the mountains, just having a good little family time or whatnot. Just coming off a show tonight, a good comedy show. So it was good to be back in the main comedy spot doing the show. I had a great time, had the crowd laughing, had some of them pandemic jokes flowing. So everything's good. Just had a family member pass away not too long, other day from COVID. So rest in peace, Christian, to the whole Pearson family in that situation. But, we still ticking, we still moving on.
Yeah, had a pretty solid week, man. But Flake, y'all getting some money, man. Y'all done hit the beach, the mountains, all in the pandemic. Let me hold something, man.
Hey, look, the pandemic make us not spend nothing. That's why we got it.
Yeah, that is true.
We ain't doing nothing extra.
Yeah. But nah, it's been a good ass week, man. I cannot complain at all. We finally made it and got that 13.1 out the way. I want to say that Chris, you PR, didn't you? That was your personal record for a half?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. For me as well, for pace-wise, I was going for a goal to being under 10 minutes per mile, so I finished it at 9:56. So it was a great weekend. We had some fun. Ran Saturday, had a nice little formal dinner Sunday, so shout out to the ZFT fam. We made it, and I've been enjoying not even thinking about working out at all this week and resting. So I know everybody appreciated that. Overall, been a good week, man. I no complaints. Trying to think if I'm missing anything, but now got my we got our nonprofit event coming up Saturday, so be traveling up to Dallas to have that conversation in the Black Safe Space Saturday. Link up with my brother up there, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be some more festivities this weekend, but no complaints, everything good. How about you, Spear?
My week been straight for the most part. I'm gonna start with completing the half marathon. As I stated, if you've been listening from the jump, the first time go around I didn't finish or whatnot. I got dehydrated, but this time I actually finished and completed it. It was a beautiful thing. It was a milestone. It was an accomplishment and something that I never seen myself doing with running 13.1 miles all at once. And so glory be to God for that, for allowing me to finish. The last 2 miles, I was running with a freaking Charlie horse / cramp / frog in my left leg, but I didn't stop. I kept pushing, but again, I was still able to PR. I was just trying to get under 2 hours. Didn't really have no time in mind because I never done it before. But I PR with an 8:55 pace, and I finished at 1:57. So again, I'm proud of that, and it's just more things to accomplish and to get better with when we do ramp back up for our next half. That's in May, right, Rose?
Yeah, May 2nd, I want to say, if I do.
Yeah, so taking a little time off, glad don't have to get up to run or do nothing like that. I'm sorry for your loss, Flake, and so I'll be praying for you and your family as far as that go. I had a loss too. My aunt, she was taken away. I'm not going to discuss too much stuff because it's still a thing in the mix, but yeah, I'm just shout out to the Brown and the Booker family and all of that stuff, and rest in heaven, Aunt Marie. That's all I got to say about that for right now. But it is what it is. Life is good. Things happen, but life is good. All you got to do is keep pressing and keep moving. So for me, that's how my week been, pretty good or whatnot. So
yeah, definitely.
Prayer.
Yeah, prayers to your family, and sorry to hear about your aunt. And Flake, I was fresh off of meditation, so I really forgot that you had even said that because that's both of our cousins. So definitely our thoughts and prayers goes out to the Pearson family and us as well. But COVID, cannot wait till it's over with.
Like, bro, I was telling somebody tonight, I was like, I can't wait till it's over with so everything go back to normal. I appreciate what it's done for my bank account because we can't do nothing, so saving all type of money. But man, it's just as human beings, you need to be around people. At the end of the day, we was created to be able to gather and to be around people, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard not to be around and hang out, and just fellowship with people like you used to. So prayers to your family, Spears. And I do got a question about y'all run. Do y'all run the whole 13 miles, or it's like a run walk type situation? So y'all jog the whole 13.
Yeah, ain't no walking.
Ain't no walking.
Some people might get a little walk in, but not us.
Yeah, no, and I actually, even with runs, I've never walked in a half marathon. I did that, not even on my first one when I attempted to. Now, I felt like I wanted to for sure, but even like with some of the training runs when we wasn't prepping right, and we might have been me, bruh, and Woods up sipping wine to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, then getting up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, running 10 miles. We stopped, but when we stopped, trust me, to try to pick that speed back up, you'll go from having like a 9 or 10 minute pace to like 12 or 13. So if you stop your body, it's all here. So that's how I look at it. Like unless it's just a muscle that, like it ain't worth falling over and collapsing about it. But it's all mental. Trust me. That's why I run. Like I hate it, but I love it at the same time because it's like once you start doing something, you don't stop. And I just realized it's like certain things we do, like we do this weekly. It's just a mental push. Like we could make 1,000 excuses why we couldn't record, but it's a mental thing. You can if you want to, but you'll grab the water running through there, throw it over you, throw it on your face, throw it in the bushes, throw it in the trash can when you walk by, whatever. But anything besides stop. That's the whole goal. Just don't stop.
Yeah. So y'all got a standard pace that you stick with during the entire run. You stick to that one pace for the entire run.
You want to, like we did training for intervals this training season. So we've been training for like the last 4 months. Yeah. Training the last 4 months, and we go to the track every Wednesday, and we're doing intervals. So you're going at a slow pace, then you're going at a fast pace. So you get used to it. So your body almost gets accustomed to running that speed. So I mean, it may go up and fluctuate a little bit, but once you get used to controlling your breathing and your body movements, you're gonna be around the same pace. Like all of mine were at 9 until I hit 10. And the reason why it started to drop, my headphones started going out on one ear, and then I messed up the route. So when you get to thinking about other stuff besides running, you start to go down. So my slowest pace was like 10:34. Everything else was under 10. So
y'all gotta practice on breathing techniques and all this. It's a certain. So when you running and stuff like that, you just don't get out there and run. So you got to practice a certain breathing technique and this, that, and the other.
Pacing yourself. Like it's not a sprint; it's really a marathon. Like you got to know how your body gonna react. Like you can get out there and run sprints. That's what the interval training for is to get your body used to it. But during the mile, you're gonna pace yourself. The good runners gonna pace themselves, and it's gonna be consistent. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Not enough for one song?
What's that?
If you can you can hear. What, you about to sign up for one? Get your little 5K in?
I ain't signing up for none of that, player. I just if I do it just be to get these pounds off, which I got on the scale this week and I ain't like what I seen. So I gotta get these pounds off. But now running ain't my it ain't my thing. I'd rather go out and play 18 games full court basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just I mean, but who knows? One day I might, who knows?
I say get your 5K in, man. We'll come do it with you. Ain't number 3 miles.
I'd probably do that. If I put like this, I would have to have a group like y'all had.
Okay.
Be interested. To be interested in doing it. Now for me getting up there and be like, hey, I'm about to go run 5 miles, bro, that ain't happening. I'm gonna do about 2 and be like, woo. That was a good workout. All right, I got something else to do.
Right. Yeah. The group definitely is important. So that's why, again, shout out to the ZLT family, because that wouldn't even be a part of our discussion if it wasn't for a group like that. It wouldn't even be close.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because like you said, it's mental. So it ain't normal for somebody in their mind to say, I'm finna run 13 miles. Like that ain't normal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
The other thing about it that is a help is when you out there, you out there. You ain't got no way back but to
yeah. Yep.
So I
Yep.
mean, that's the other thing that is like once you get past a mile and a half, 2 miles, it's like even if you wanted to stop, what you gonna do? You gonna walk? But if you walk it, people gonna be done by the time you actually walk them 2 miles back. So it's like you might as well just keep jogging and going. And just, vibe to your music. That's why thank God for headphones and technology, because that's a lifesaver too. But then also the community and the group and just seeing people and watching people, that's encouraging, and also it helps just to keep you like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not alone out here. So
Yeah.
can you imagine back in the day they run a marathon with a Walkman and your batteries die?
That'll be my last marathon.
you in trouble, man.
Woo.
Dude, I either ran 10 or 11 miles without no music because I left my phone at Wood's house that one time, remember?
Ooh.
And I ain't had nothing to jam to. I was just running, listening to Rose rap, Nipsey and stuff and everything.
Yeah. It's therapeutic out there. And like you were saying, that you got to get back to the car. So once you get that far, you ain't walking back no 5 miles. You might work on at least jog.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can go conversation now.
So for this week, I don't know if any of our listeners watched the podcast that Mike Tyson has called HotBoxin. His guest was Boosie and Mo3 on there, and they had a dialogue and a conversation that was very profound and deep, and it also shed some light on some things. So we're going to discuss that and just figure out how we feel about some of the things Tyson said or even Boosie said, even though he didn't speak as much because Tyson was just dropping gems. And then we also just going to dive in and discuss on how we feel personally about some of the things that Tyson said. So for starters, Tyson touched on loving yourself and forgiving yourself, and how do you go about that, and what does that mean? And so I guess I will start with that. So how do y'all feel about loving yourself and forgiving yourself? And do you think that is a direct correlation in the things that you say or how you act or treat people or how you respond to things?
Well, for me, one thing for sure is I got this little brand that I'm gonna start working on more in 2021. That's called Fly First Love Yourself. I got some T-shirts or whatever I sell at my comedy shows, and I give to certain like family members or whatnot. So that brand, I'm gonna give me a new logo, and I'm gonna start really push that brand in 2021. So you really gotta love yourself before you can love anybody else, and that's the message I use when I headline the show. That's what I end it with. I tell people to come fly with me, and I say it might sound selfish, but if you think about it, you got to first learn how to love yourself before you love anybody else. And with Tyson, he was saying that everybody got their own demons. And that's where people don't really fall in love with themselves because you don't like the demons that you have. You're more focused on what is wrong with you and why you are wired that way. And then people don't really, that's when you start seeing, and I'm not, that's where you might start seeing suicide and things of that nature. Are people that sit in their room all day and don't want to talk to nobody, loners and this, that, and the other. I'm not saying all of them have this issue, but that's the reason why a lot of them have it, because everybody has their own demons, and people feel like they the only one battling those demons, and they don't like that demon. I don't want anybody to know about it. Everybody has it. And like Tyson said, you got to learn how to love that part of you because that might make you separate you from being different from everybody else. Now, you might have to learn how to contain it, but that part of you is going to always be there. You know, I know I got a certain demon that I battle with, but I have learned how to contain it. If that is out to a certain part of humans, they be like, man, what the hell? I didn't know that about you, and this, that, and the other. But I have learned this is a part of me. I have thought about why I went through that phase also. Why do I act this way? Why am I wired this way? And trying to figure out why I act this way. Because sometimes it's something that happened in your life that make you feel that certain way. So you try to find that and find that reason of why it is. If you can't find that, then it's like, I got to deal with this and I got to love that part of me. And if it's something that is really, really bad, you have to learn how to contain that part of you. So no matter what, who you are, it's always you gonna have to learn how to love yourself because you can't love anybody else until you learn how to love yourself and the demons that it come with and work on that part of you. And if it's something that you can't, if it's something that you think is uncontrollable, you might need to go to counseling, get some help. You need to learn how to contain that. You need to talk to somebody. And counseling could be, people need to understand, counseling ain't always going to pay somebody $75, $80, $100 a session. Counselor could be a family member that you just call and lean on and just say, hey, I just need you to listen to me vent. I just need you to, give me some counsel if needed. So that's what I got out of that. And I just hope everybody out there can, first love themselves. And then once they love themselves, I think they'll be able to prosper and see how God can bless them in certain ways that they never thought of. Some blessings are being held back because God is like, if I give you this and you don't love yourself, you ain't gonna know how to act. That's all for me.
Yeah. I love that point though. So, but Chris, do you mind asking the question again so I can make sure I answer you correctly?
So the question is, do you think that loving yourself, one, is something that is a direct correlation to how you treat others or how you act with others and what you say about certain aspects, whether it be current events, whether it be different things that's going on, or whatever the case may be, in the words that you put to it. And then also, is loving yourself to go back to what Flake was saying, is loving yourself and dealing with your demons a thing that you work on deliberately to show self-love and to work on yourself and to better yourself?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and I think it is a direct correlation because what I can speak for myself just personally on it is when I was battling my demons, as Mike talked about it, him and Boosie was speaking about in the conversation, is that I found myself staying away from people that I know truthfully love me and could have had real feedback that could have got me through with battling with my demons, but I didn't love myself enough to put myself around those people because a part of me knew that they knew that I was battling things, but I wasn't willing to accept that I had those flaws in front of people just due to a lot of things in life, right? And not that you're viewing yourself as perfect, but it's very hard to walk into that door that closet full of your demons that you have to now accept. And it just kind of pushes you into that way. But what you start to realize is that those people that are willing to bend over backwards for you when you are facing those tough times, those people truthfully care. Not everybody's just trying to be nosy and be in your business, right? But the way you may treat them as you're battling them will make you either gain more people that are willing to support you during your dark times, or you start to push away those very people that are willing to help you. So I think it is a direct correlation of if you love yourself or if you don't love yourself, the people around you or that you choose to be around will be severely either impacted by it, either that, whether that's a perks or whether that's a positive thing or a negative connotation, is because we're expecting you to be the best version of you. We didn't say you were going to be perfect. So I do think that it is a direct correlation if you love yourself or not. And your second question was, what again?
Is working on yourself something that you working to love yourself something that you do deliberately or in an intentional manner?
Oh yeah, I do. I spoke about on previous episodes. Like I'm in counseling, I deal with that. But what I've learned now is that the people that I really call family, whether they my brothers, they my sisters, I'm way more open. Flake can attest to this. You can attest to it. I even give you that same acknowledgement because you've taken that step as well. I think we're all very open and more vulnerable in regards to what's really bothering us now. And it's something I'm very intentional with. And I'm only wanting certain people around me when I'm in that mode to say to other people, hey, bro, I'm going to hit you back. And I may call you, or if I'm in town with Flake, like, hey, let's just go hit a ball. Let's just talk. Don't ask me like what's going on. Let's just talk about it. Let's get it off my chest. But just earlier this year or, late last year, that was not something that neither one of us did. And I know for me and Flake, we've had several conversations about things that happened years ago that we would never even speak about, the demons that we were battling at that time. And so I just think that that's a blessing for me, is because now that since I'm so intentional with it, I can't say that I will say that I'm impacting people around me, but it's a positive impact now. And it's not negative that you're withdrawing yourself, but that person that you're withdrawing from could be battling the same thing. So, yeah, I think it's, you have to be deliberate and intentional with it. And if you're not, then you're really not being that real friend, that real brother, that real sister or uncle or whomever. Like if you're not giving that person your vulnerability or your demons, then neither one of y'all are dealing with it, because you're going to find something else to cope with, whether that's you want to go smoke together, you're going to go drink together, go holler at some women together, whatever you do to try to use as a vice to get away from it. When y'all get home and you drop them off or however it happened, when you wake up, you still got to deal with it. So, yeah, you got to be intentional with it.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. And as far as the working on yourself and becoming a better lover of self, that is something that I'm trying to do on a deliberate basis and a more intentional basis. And just to use Flake's term or logo or slogan, whatever you want to call it, fly. So I'm trying to first love myself, and in doing so, that has helped me to be freer in a sense of being more comfortable with who I am, but then also being more comfortable in my relationships and more free in my relationships, to where I'm not trying to put on a fake smile or even put on a fake demeanor or attitude towards the people that I love or I associate with. And then also it's allowed me more peace because I have a genuine love for self versus telling myself all the time, like, damn, you failed at something else, or damn, you ain't shit, or like say, bro, like you just whatever it is, whatever demon I have dealt with or whatever demons I am dealing with. And one thing that I can attribute to that is journaling. And I know I've been saying it the past 3 episodes or whatnot, but journaling has been a big help as far as the work that I've been putting in on self-love and protecting my peace and my being. As far as does loving yourself attribute to the way that I interact with people on a regular basis, I agree and disagree with that statement to a certain extent. And the reason why I disagree with it, because I know a lot of times when I didn't love myself the way that I love myself now, I would fake like everything's good. So then therefore, it wasn't like people was getting the negative part of me or I was being just rude or ugly or whatever, because a lot of times I was faking to act like I was good, even though at that point in time I didn't love myself. So then, nobody was really seeing the real me or the hurt or the pain or the demons that I was dealing with, because I was faking to put on a front and to put on this illusion that everything was good. And so that's where I disagree at. But then I also do agree with, when you don't love yourself to some degree, there is a point where you do try to project your feelings onto others, and that can happen to where you're projecting. So because you feel some type of way about yourself, you're going to try to make somebody else feel that same way about them. And so that is something where I do agree with that. And I do understand where Mike was coming from in that aspect, and that's something that I can relate to and agree with. So I'm a little 50-50 on that.
Let me ask you something, Speed. Let me ask you something real quick.
Go ahead. I feel like Flake gonna ask.
So before, and this is going back to acting towards others, before you loved yourself the way you do now, and after you love yourself the way you do now. Now, I can put this out in the podcast because we talked about it on this podcast. Now, were you more aggressive before you loved yourself the way you do now, or after? Have you seen yourself be more calm during this transition of loving yourself more the way you feel like you love yourself now?
With that, I'm to be honest, I'm probably the same aggressive. The thing is, I have more tolerance, but that has nothing to do with my love for myself. That has everything to do with me having kids and having children. So I'm more tolerable for nonsense and BS because of my children versus me. Because at the end of the day, I'm still me. So when I was about to say the N word. When a brother or sister do something to me, it still has the same effect on me, and I want to react the same way. But the reason that stops me from reacting that way is because, one, I'm 34, and so I'm older, but two, because I got 3 beautiful kids that I have to live for and protect, and some things aren't worth putting my life in jeopardy to where either my life is gone or I'm in jail behind bars because of some weak person who really ain't about that life and don't really want no issues but just doing stuff. So to me, that has nothing to do with the love of myself. To me, that has everything to do with my kids just being a saving grace.
Gotcha.
All right. So I think I get where you're coming from. My question still would be though, like the love that you have for your kids, you created your kids. So I still feel like, to me, I feel like that's loving yourself and your situation more, that you realize that somebody putting on in front like they really about that, knowing they ain't. Like, all right, bro, you got it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I still feel like, maybe for myself, like I don't react off of certain things because I do know that, I have, 3 younger siblings, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I know I have people that are dependent on me. So a lot of my actions they have to be thoughtful. Like I can't just go crash out just because me wanting to get a demon off my chest. Okay, let me go and prove my point. But to whom? Because we all know that this person really ain't even about that. But you about to throw everything that you actually love away for a demon. So it's like, I get where you coming from, but I still feel like that's still more about self-love, because I know some people that crashed out, and when they call home now, they would have been like, bro, if I would have just thought for just a second that my 6-month-old I just had was at the crib, like that's all things that you created. So you have to love yourself more to even start to think besides crashing. That's how I look at it.
No, I respect that, and I mean that makes sense. The thing that makes me just say that it's my kids is because I have to be real with myself and ask myself, if my kids wasn't here, what would I do? And if my kids wasn't here, I would do something different. So that's just how I know it has more to do with my children and the love I have for them, but then also the joy that they bring into my life and the the happiness that they bring into my life just by being my kids and seeing them grow and seeing them grow into their personalities, their attitude, their demeanor, and all this other stuff, and realizing how they're a little bit of me, a little bit of their mama, grandparents, or whatever, and just to see them grow. And so that has more to do with that than myself, I would say. But again, I could be wrong, and what you say is very true and important, because again, they are a part of me. So then that is something I created. So then that is me in a sense. So I do understand, and I get that. I get that as well.
But in other words, just to clear it up, they better not play with you.
That show what he's saying though.
That's all he's saying. Like, yeah, that
don't
better thank them.
Like that kids, bro.
Right. You better thank them. I guess. Yeah.
My next question is, do you think that, because Tyson told Boosie, he was like, the reason why you got these people around you and you have this entourage, or you have these women, or you have all these people around you, is because you don't like the person who you are. So do you think that we associate with groups, or we have circles or cliques or entourages, or we join fraternities, sororities, other fashions and other things because we lack love for self? Or do y'all think that it's more so just because that's something that we really want to do at that time, or that's something that we find to be dope or enticing or fun, or whatever other definition that is not outside of not being in love with yourself?
See, that when I heard that, I had, I listened to that a couple times, and I even was just listening to a breakdown on like what people probably were missing from the Boosie and Mike Tyson conversation. Is I don't really agree with that, because when I think about joining your book club, that was something I personally love. Now, the people I grew up around, per se, in certain environments, that wouldn't be something that we'd be linking up talking about books, right? But when I joined the run group, I'm doing that because of the self-love for myself, right? I'm wanting to be around individuals that are going to push me and hold me accountable to do things that I didn't like. I've quit basketball and football teams if you told me I had to run more than 2 laps, and I've agreed and paid to run 2 marathons this year, right? So it's like I've joined groups to better myself because I knew for a fact those are things that I actually loved. And at a certain point in my life when I didn't, I may have got involved with other things, just looking for recognition in certain spaces, or not really having that guidance. And it all comes back to just not truthfully loving yourself. So when I think about 13 to 14 years old, when I went to a city close by and when I joined a gang, and that was something that nobody in my family knew besides somebody that was very, very close to me. And I would just leave all that out of it so people aren't connecting the dots. But the moment that I did that, it was like more or less the people that I was with, I had made them proud, but it didn't necessarily change anything of who I was, because I was still going to react and move the same way. But you're 13 or 14, you're really just doing those things because at that time you thought it was cool because you were already around it. And why not? Everybody does it, right? So I could agree with him in that area, is because a lot of even you can hear it in the rappers, and I've even said it myself, like when you come up in an environment where nobody has anything, you find the big rims, the big cars, and all the flash, everybody loves you, but those same people didn't even pick you up when you was walking through the city. Those same people walk and look right past you because you was just some broke black kid walking through the hood, unless they was family, and be like, hey, bro, you need to ride home. It's 10:30 in the morning, cars flying by. They didn't care anything for you, but now that you have something, you feel accepted from other people. So that really just shows a lack of love for self, because now that you have what they want, they accept you. you was just black and ugly when you was broke, but now you the hot rapper, now you got the good job, or now you running with the hardest clique in the city. Everybody want to be around what's considered cool. So I agree with him in that point, because that's why I don't really do entourages. I do my small group of people, and we just move how we move, and people may gravitate towards us. But I've never really just been a part of even the gang that I was in. I don't want to just be surrounded around just them. It may be a couple of them I'm super, super cool with, but just to be in groups and flocks, I didn't hate myself enough just to be surrounded by that all the time. It was just something I did for self, and people just kind of gravitated toward it. So I agree with them to a point, but I think it more hits home for women more than anything. For me, is because we've even talked about this. Like, for a fact that certain times you couldn't get the woman that you wanted, right? Or however it may have went, but everything is cool. You got one over here, you got one over here, you got one over here, you got one over here. And to that one that you really like, decided time to take flight, and then now your true feelings come out to your homeboy. That wasn't that. But that's truthfully what it is. Like, you're trying to cover up your insecurities because them days that you wasn't getting play, now it's coming into fact. Until you just get to a point where like we say, you got the juice, you're doing all that because you're trying to hide some insecurities. You really don't love that, or it could just be fun at some point. But at some point you did it because at one point you couldn't. And you felt that it was important to be cool around your homies. So I agree with them on both sides.
Yeah, I think that's one question that's kind of dependent on the person. You got some people that don't need to be around the crowd so much, and you got people that's party people that always love to being around the crowd, regardless. They just this social butterfly. But then you got some, now when you got a person that always had to have people around them, yes, those are the people you got to look out for, that they got some insecurities, they got some issues that they don't want to deal with. When it's somebody that and I think that's what Mike Tyson was saying, like, how many times are you alone? And Boosie couldn't really answer the question. He was basically saying, I'm around people all the time, whether it be, I won't say the name that Tyson used, but whether it be women or rappers outside or other people, I'm always around somebody. And I know a couple people that's like that. They always and I'll break it down to the part when you know of people that always got to be in a relationship. Like, we've all known those people that they always have a boyfriend or girlfriend. They could just broke up, and a week later they have another partner already. Those are people that you gotta look out for. They're probably dealing with insecurity. For those who always got to go to the club, always got to go to the bar, always what y'all doing 7 days a week, those are the people who have to deal with some type of insecurities. It got to be some point where you have to be by yourself and, think to yourself and meditate and drive by yourself and whatever your version of meditation is. Some people's version of meditation is like me when I'm driving. I can't sit still too long, but while I'm driving, I could be playing a whole album and probably won't even tell you what song played because I'm sitting there thinking. Or it could be sitting in the house in a recliner with the TV on, and they ain't even really watching what's on there. They just sitting still, being quiet. Or it could be the meditation that we used to, where you got your legs crossed and your hands out, or whatever. Whatever your situation is, you need that time to yourself. When you get to dealing with people who always have to be around somebody all the time, yes, this is when you deal with them insecurities. And when he was talking to Boosie, you can kind of tell it was kind of getting to him, like, hey, you know what, he owns something. It is some things I've probably done in my life, and there is some things about me that I do not like. And like I said, and it might not be a situation where something that you don't like about yourself. It might be a situation where stuff has happened in the past that you have not forgave yourself for. And the simple fact is you do drugs, you pop pills, you drink, not to think about those past things that you have not forgave yourself. You could have, it's people out there that have completely changed, that have made a whole 180, but it's the things that happened 10, 15 years ago that's still eating and biting at them. So if you one of those people, that you have made that journey, you have made that complete 180, and it's something in the past that you did something to somebody or you reacted, you need to pray on it. This is just my advice. I ain't got no license or nothing. Just my advice. We need to pray on it. Find out if you did something wrong to a person, I don't care how long ago it was, sit down, have a conversation, apologize to that person. They might have forgot what you did, but the simple fact that you got that part off your chest will help you go a long way. You know, I will say when I was battling depression, I was trying to be around people as much as possible. No lie. It kept my mind off of not having no job, not being able to buy my daughter a birthday gift, none of that. I don't care if we just sat around and split a bottle. I didn't care what it was. It was like, I don't want to be by myself, period, point blank. I didn't feel safe by myself because I didn't want to battle that thought. I didn't want to battle that. Shoot, matter of fact, I might do something to me because that's the state I was in. I didn't think I would, but I just didn't ever want it to cross my mind at no point at all. So I seen where he was going with that, and as black men, we battle that a lot. If we want to, we don't want to talk about it, but I think I got a friend right now that's close to me that's battling that right now. So as black men, and I'm just speaking to us because we three black men on here talking. Yes, we have to deal with that. As we know in the black community, we don't do a lot of talking. We grew up, a lot of black people what goes on his house, stay in his house, which is true, but sometimes you balance stuff that you gotta talk about. You gotta get it off your chest.
Well, yeah. So for me, I agree with Tyson. To a certain extent, I'm more like Rose, and then with other things as far as like, as far as joining a gang and joining book clubs or different other clubs, run groups, being around my partners and my bros or whatever. To me, that wasn't something that I did because I didn't love myself. But as far as my direct impact with women, that is something that I know happened because I was dealing with insecurities and I didn't love myself, and I was dealing with demons that I didn't know how to deal with or handle. So therefore, I would act out. I would have multiple women, or not even have multiple women, because a lot of times when I did my thing, I was single. So when I did my thug dizzle, I was single, but I was involved with this one, involved with that one, going to this one next, all this other stuff. Like I would do some reckless things and some things I shouldn't have done. So but I know that was a direct impact because of what happened to me when I was younger, but then also what happened to me through relationships that made me build this lie that I wasn't worthy or I wasn't enough because somebody else chose to act a certain way towards me in our relationship. And so instead of knowing that that was a them problem, I put it on me and made it a me problem. And so therefore I would do certain things because I thought I was the problem when they're dealing with their own demons too. And that's one thing that as men, we don't know how to talk about relationships like that or express ourselves or whatever the case may be, or we take on things that has nothing to do with us, but we also give things to people or to females that we're dealing with that has nothing to do with them. But it's because we really don't know how to, one, love ourselves in that moment, but two, communicate our emotions or feelings properly and effectively. And then thirdly, we want the next best thing sometimes, or we want multiple things sometimes, and we want to try something else. So that's what I do agree with him on, about sometimes some of the things that we do when we have the multiple ladies or when we keep being involved with certain things, that it is a direct correlation to our insecurities or not loving ourselves. And then the other thing that I will say is I do agree with you, Rose, wholeheartedly about, other things that we do join or become a part of is not a direct correlation between us not loving ourselves. It's just some things that we want to be a part of or that catches our eye and our attention, and that is sometimes beneficial to us and helps us get through life and deal with life, and also helps us grow as a person and continue to be a better person.
I will say this on my behalf that a lot of people don't know that I'm putting out there. I made an attempt to join the game because I wasn't satisfied from where I was in life. I was like, well, I guess this is gonna be it. So these are guys I hang around. So let's get this thing popping. And I say attempt because it was kind of like, yeah, I ain't put no work in. I pretty much left the city after that. but yeah. But one thing that really tripped me out about this, kind of switch it up a little bit, is when Tyson sat back and said, "Hey, well, what you said about D Wade's son, do you think you might be a little bit homosexual? Because you say a lot of stuff about homosexuals. You know, you might hate homosexuals, so you might be hiding a little bit of homosexual in you. But what y'all think about that? I thought Boosie was gonna go out. Boosie was just like, nah, I'm just straight as an arrow, G. But we all know somebody that is like homophobic, and it's like, bro, it ain't even that serious. Like for you to even act like that. What y'all think about that?
It's I respect Boosie for how he responded because he actually gave a great point afterwards. And I also like how Mike, because it took him a while, I kind of got uncomfortable at that point. I like the way he brought it back around because he started connecting to certain things of like, who are we to kind of, because like he was saying, it's like, that's not your life or that's not your decision, so why are you so judgmental? But Mike didn't say that. He said it straight as like, are you that? Because you would start to think is that because he's talking about battling demons and a lot of the things that you try to mask or cover up are blatantly who you are, but you don't want people to know it. So really how I felt is that that's what he really wanted to ask Boosie. Like, since you say so much, are you trying to let us know that maybe you're battling that demon? Because like he hit the blunt one time, it was like, because I didn't battle some demons. Like, so he let you know, like, he tried to tip Boosie, like, look, you ain't fighting this by yourself. There's no telling what life Mike then lives. You know, he went through a lot. So, like, he kept saying, like, you don't know. I didn't battle some demons. So he like, okay, now, like, if you come on out, I gonna let him know I'm married, but I didn't battle. I couldn't. The demon. You feel me? The demon. That's what I got from it. Like, Mike was trying to let us know, like, hey, if you battling, you battling, bro. But are you? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm married. I know you love the women, but that's what it looked like to me. And then he ain't gonna get up and whoop Mike. Him or Mo would have got drugged through there. Like, you're not gonna whoop Mike. So it was respectable. It's like at that point, it's like how I look at it, because the first time I ever had a conversation with something of that, like, I grew up in that way because my father's been in the penitentiary and in jail a lot. So he always told me, like, stay far away from that, because how men will view you in their environment is that if you have any dealings with them, then you are acceptable to their actions and they may view you as somebody that's down low. So I grew up being very standoffish with that, and I don't have men in my family that are. And it's not any judgment, but you're almost conditioned to think a certain way based off of somebody else's. That's penitentiary rules. Like, in the society, like, I got a couple homeboys I'm super cool with, and that's their lifestyle. I'm not judging you on that. But like Mike was trying to let them know, like, you don't have to bash other people if that's you, because I can tell you right now, I could have fought that demon. What you gonna do to me if I tell you I am right now? Or I have been. Or then tried it. Boosie, you gonna get a whooping? You gonna have the same energy you got towards D Wade's son that you got for me? Hey, I don't know a man that wants to fight Mike straight up or at all. So that's how I took it. I respect both of them for how he tied it in for Mike and how Boosie responded, because it could have went left, but I love Boosie. But
nah, dog, You can't fight that battle with a man that told a man in his face, "I want to eat your children." Like, what you gonna do? Experience, your thoughts?
My thoughts on it is, one, Boosie just knew better. So he he he, he might have felt some type of way at the beginning, like when the when Mike presented it like that the first time or whatever. But then, like you said, when Mike brought it around, he probably relaxed or whatever. But Boosie, like you said, Boosie knew better. Ain't nobody just gonna be like, say what? Like, and jump stupid with Mike. So, I mean, Boosie knew better. And if people been watching the training videos, Mike still got it. So, you don't want that smoke. So, but I did think that was deep, and that was something that a lot of times needs to be done in our circles. And again, I could see if Boosie did feel some type of way if he come out later and have an interview with somebody else or whatever and say, like, I really didn't like how he did that at first, but then after, the conversation progressed or whatever, I could respect it, understand, because it was in front of cameras. But I do think that's something that we need to have in our circles, and we need to be real with each other and our brothers and sisters and ask them straight up, like, so are you saying these things or acting this way because this is something that you're actually dealing with? So then therefore we can actually start the healing process. But a lot of times as friends or as siblings or as whatever we are to the people that we care about and love, we try to sugarcoat or tiptoe around their feelings, so then therefore they don't get mad at us for saying this, or we don't get mad at them because they said this or whatever, versus having real deep conversations that need to be had, so then therefore we can grow. So that's what I feel about it. But again, Boosie wasn't stupid. And even if he had a strap on him, he wasn't stupid.
Yeah. But I really like your point, man, that like you were saying, like we need to start having those conversations, because I was just saying this earlier in the conversation, preparing for the Black Safe Space. We come together as either, men or women. I can speak about us, and we can have a problem. We just talk about it, but we say or do what's comfortable, because I don't want to be that extra stress on you that you're coming to me to, have this conversation or get it off your chest, instead of just addressing it where it is. It's like, okay, so you came to me for this, but you just want me to hear you out, or should I give you feedback? Because again, you're dealing with this demon. I'm not. I should be friend enough to you to say, all right, this is where it needs to stop at. Like, enough for making you feel comfortable with it. We do a lot of what's comfortable, but we don't do enough of what's challenging. So it's like, let's start the healing process now. Let's get past it, because if not, only thing you did was come over here and just spoke about what you didn't want to completely talk about. So I'm gonna definitely don't know.
And that's why I kind of went with it. That's why I thought about, like, yeah, we need to start having these more uncomfortable conversations. Like, when nobody else gonna ask him no question like that. Mike, on the other hand, if anybody come to this podcast, he asks uncomfortable conversations, and then he bring it around by talking to himself and even make it even more uncomfortable. But he dropping gems throughout the life that he's been through. So I agree with both you guys. Yeah, we got to have circles to have uncomfortable conversations. Quit bullshitting around. Quit pussyfooting around the conversations. We got to have uncomfortable conversations to really get to know and learn people and who they really are and what they stand on at the end of the day. And I think, when you feel a certain way about something, regardless if it's about homosexuality or however you feel about a certain subject, we got to get uncomfortable and get an understanding of why you feel that way. Like we was in a group earlier, D.Rose talking about a certain subject, and you said, I don't completely understand. Please explain why you feel the way you feel. And that's the certain point we got to get at. We got to get out of our shell, and sometimes it's being Mr. Macho and I'm the hardest dude on the block, and can't nobody see me in this certain way. Now, it's times where you got to be a little bit soft. You can't be hard all the time. You're hard all the time, you're going to have a heart attack at 42 and die. You know what I'm saying? It got to be something in you that make you feel a certain way and put you in a safe space. And we don't have to speak on everything that goes on that's not part of our life. Like, for prime example, if y'all mind bringing up, a lot of people like, why y'all ain't talked on Meg and Tory? One, that ain't none of our business right now. Two, we waiting on everything to come out before we just really talk on it. Sometimes you ain't got to just jump out there and say what you got to say. If that man in the wrong, then we'll speak on it. If that lady was out there popping, shot at him first, then we'll speak on it. And it'd be crazy we come out there and drag somebody, and then you hear a story where it's a total 180 from what everybody's been told, and then we look stupid. Yeah. So, like he was saying, sometimes you ain't got to hop out there and be the first one with the hot topic, the hot take, for you to go back and apologize and disregard what I said. I didn't have all information. No, sometimes you can just sit back. You ain't got to do stuff for likes and follows and just for somebody to pat you on the back, this, that, and the other. No, stay true to yourself and how you feel. And sit back, get all the information that you need, and then pass your judgment at that point in time. Don't just always take. That's how social media got a lot of us fooled. Social media put out there what they want you or what they think they want you to hear, because your algorithms on what you got going on, and then they post it out there. A lot of people don't go out there and do their own research. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, here is Supremely Black. We had a previous episode. We are for the LGBTQ plus community and whatnot. Your business is your business or whatnot. And, if you don't understand, what that community is all about, sit down and have a private conversation with somebody and talk to them and, see and, don't be homophobic, this, that, and the other. It's all, this whole thing about life is about learning at the end of the day. You're going to learn until you put yourself to the Lord call you home.
And then I just want to say one thing, just because if we disagree doesn't mean that we're against you, though. So that's one thing that you do have to understand too as people. Just because you might have a different opinion does not mean that you hate your brother or you hate your sister or you hate whoever the discussion that you're having something with is. It just means that y'all don't agree with that certain aspect, and not agreeing is okay. And so that's just what I wanted to throw in there too, because I did, when that stuff was happening, what I did like that Mike did, it was say, I agree with you and I feel the same way, but did you have to say something? Like, why did you have to put your pen to the pad and say something publicly or whatnot and all of that stuff? And do you feel like you need to apologize to some people? And he was like, basically kept saying, don't get me wrong, I agree with you and I feel the same way. Like, a child shouldn't have that choice, but do you have to let it be known that you feel that way and say it so publicly and then run the child into the ground, I guess, by some of the things that Boosie said? So that's one thing I do appreciate and respect.
And what's even crazy, like, as we close it out, is the only question that everybody was so caught off guard by, or put so much of an emphasis on, like Flake was saying, just like for clickbait, was, are you a homosexual? That was actually a very, very deep interview where I've seen Boosie do 1,000 interviews and nobody's ever asked him questions about, you're probably one of the most outspoken rappers that gets the most attention when you say something, but now people are going to understand why and what you're actually facing, so when you're coming from. So it could have actually helped him in a more positive way, but what they want to hang their head on, are you a homosexual? Like, come on. Like, that was a deep interview. Like, are you hearing what he's asking him? Vlad has never asked Boosie any questions like that. You know what I'm saying? He's been on 1,000 interviews. Nobody's ever got into Boosie's real intellect and what why does he think that way? Nobody's ever got that way. They just want Boosie to be Boosie because it's entertaining. That wasn't entertaining. That was deep. Like, you got to find out who Boosie really was. And he ain't always so gorilla and silly. He got some stuff that he's dealing with. And it's obvious because he didn't have answers. A man without answers, you trying to deal with something. And that's okay. But we've all been there before. That's what people should be realizing, not the one question that was he quickly got off of and tied it into a whole life lesson. Like, that was it. Like, he asked him that and it was 45 minutes. Like, it's a 45-minute interview. That's all y'all got. But again, that's That's neither here nor there, but we know what people get interested in.
Now, I do want to say this. The dopest part of that conversation, to me, was when Tyson said, a woman will never love you like your mama.
Mama, yeah.
Because your mama is trying to fight for your survival and a woman is trying to fight for her own survival. And when Boosie said, that's a song right there, like that's a song right there. And he's like, dog, but to hear it broken down like that and said so eloquently, it was like, it made me think. I was like, dang, like that's deep. And like,
Because we all say it, like girls say they want somebody that reminds them like their daddy. Dudes say they want somebody to love them like their mama. But why? Where do we get it from? Like, why is that our version of love? Like, you could take little small bits and pieces of it and just apply it to it. But just somebody like them, how? It's a completely different feeling. It should be. Like, but that was deep, though.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Y'all got anything you want to chime in or throw in about the conversation or anything that I missed that I didn't ask?
Nah, we'll go ahead and wrap it up for those. For those, take a listen to their podcast. Shout out to them, HotBoxin. Hey, after you listen to this podcast and we going deep about certain things that's going on, I ain't gonna lie, D.Rose, I was mad about them 45 minutes, but I think they had some other stuff going on, so they wasn't able to have it as long. So hopefully he'll have them back, whatnot.
Yeah, because they said they had another interview or something. Tyson and them had another interview.
But if not, we can wrap it up with our Black Business Week and the Supremely Black Person of the Week.
For the Black Business Minute, give me 1 second. I'm trying to pull it up. So if you want to go with your Supremely Black Person, you could go ahead because I'm trying to get back to my bookmark.
No problem. No problem. I can do that. Definitely, it's gonna be three brothers. I'm gonna go with the 85 South Show. There's another Black podcast out there. I'm sure a lot of people know about them, but the simple fact why they're Supreme Black People of the Week is because they have took themselves from the ground up. I'm talking about somebody from the ground up with no help to put themselves in a position to host the BET Awards. They also got one of the most successful podcasts out there. We talking about three comedians that started off as just being underground comedians. They came together as a team, as we like to see as Black folks as a united front. We can achieve great things, and these are three brothers that actually did that with DC Young Fly, Carlos Miller, and Chico Bean. Every once in a while, Clayton English is on the show. He is one of the members of the 85 South Show as well, but he's in a different location, but he's one of the brothers that started that also. But I like to, give those 3/4 guys being our Supremely Black People of the Week due to their success and their grind from the ground up, not asking on handouts, but staying consistent, completely grinding, and putting themselves in a position to continue their success. So if anybody out there who's starting their own business, anybody out there entertainment business, anybody out there trying to do something from the ground up, whether it be you trying to be a lawyer, a nurse, doctor, whatever it is, if you're trying to be the best plumber in your city, you starting your business on your own from the ground up, these guys are a great example of coming from the ground up. If you work consistently, if you work hard, and you give good business, hey, it can all be there for you. So shout out to 85 South Show, going from local clubs to hosting the BET Award.
Yeah, that's dope. That is dope. For the Black Business Minute, we're gonna do Lorian West Jewelry. So Lorian West Jewelry takes pride in being Black, women, artists, and entrepreneur. We will continue to bring forth symbols of liberation through our jewelry designs. We pay respect to our ancestors, the brothers and sisters long past and most recent that have lost their lives due to systemic racism and oppression existing in America for the past 400 plus years. Black and brown bodies are sacred and deserve to be respected, protected, loved, and to enjoy their lives. And it's Lorian West Jewelry. So how you spell it? They have a Instagram. It's LORRAINEWEST, and then jewelry, and that's their Instagram. And so they have different pieces and stuff that pay tribute to black women and black man, and just like I said, some dope jewelry or whatnot that you can purchase and buy that is a direct story, I would say, of our history, not only in America but throughout the world, from the time that we've been here to the time that we're in now. And so, Lauren West Jewelry, that's our black business.
Salute.
Well, y'all got anything to leave the people?
I will leave them with this. Don't get so caught up in the mess that you miss the message. That's it.
It's short, but it's deep.
Yeah.
Like like Keenan Ivory used to do in his movies. Message.
Right.
Message.
Yeah.
But I would leave the people with, don't be afraid to have the conversations that you fear. And don't be afraid to battle your demons, because if you don't battle them now, they will battle you. And you don't want to lose to your demons. You want to defeat your demons. So don't be afraid to have the conversations that you fear, and don't be afraid to battle your demons. And that's all I got to leave the people with.
And all I got for y'all, like I stated earlier today, is come fly with us, man. You got to first love yourself before you can love anybody else. That's 100% fact. You can't completely love somebody else if you don't love yourself. And that's for real. So, from Supremely Black Crew, as always, hey, ladies, put your crown on. Took that thing to the side. Let them know you are a queen. For all my fellas out there, put your crown on. Took that thing to the side. Let them know you are a king. We are Supremely Black Podcast. We love y'all.